Week we have a special guest. It's our preferred lender, Mark Smith. He's with Network Funding, and thought I would just bring Mark on and welcome Mark. How are you doing?
Doing great. How are you, Brent?
Okay, good. We all wish there was more business right now, but it seems like people are going to be getting used to these interest rates, I would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Obviously, we haven't had the relief that we thought we were going to get this year. So it's obviously been a tough rate environment for a while now, and continues to don't see any real downward pressure yet.
Right. The rate pressure, or whatever the term you just used. I mean, historically, these rates, we're doing this filming as of the end of August in 2023, and rates are what, in the 7% range on a 30-year conventional?
They are. They're mid sevens ish, somewhere in there.
All right. Historically, that's pretty average, isn't it, over the last 20 or 30 years?
Well, if you take out, really from 2005 to 2021, then it's actually pretty low, because if you go back prior to 2001, rates weren't below 7%.
Yeah, right.
So historically, they're still in line with what rates have been.
I remember 3-4 months ago, I of course watched this religiously, and it seemed like maybe there was a lot of false hope that by now rates would have come down by now, with the Fed having kept the rates high to combat inflation. And now that inflation has come down a little bit, and I don't know what it is recently, where are we still in the 6-8% range, or where are we at on inflation?
We are. Inflation's kind of just stabilized. We're not seeing it up. We're not seeing it go down. And I think that's part of the problem.
Okay.
Is that we haven't seen that downward pressure yet. The employment numbers are still relatively strong. So there hasn't been any talk of rate cuts. Like you'd take back 6 months ago, they were talking about rate cuts by the end of the year.
Right.
And that's just not going to happen now.
Yeah, so all those false hopes of interest rates being in the 5s by now probably aren't going to happen even through the end of the year, would you guess? Or what's
I don't see any real rate improvement this year at all.
Yeah,
I think we're going to probably see after first quarter of 2024 before we see any positive movement. There's probably going to be some rate cuts next year, and then we're also entering an election year next year too. So historically, rates are lower in election years.
Okay.
So hopefully that plays in our favor as well.
Is that the main basis why you say first quarter next year? It's the election. Anything else that's telling you that rates would come down?
I just think that the Feds are going to pause over that. You may see another rate cut. You may see another 25 basis point rate increase. But I think then there's going to be a pause. There's going to be a 6-month pause of just trying to figure out what's going to happen, seeing if what they've done is actually going to bring inflation down, control employment a little bit, for them to be able to say, hey, you know what? Now it's time to make some rate cuts. So I just think they're going to pause and wait and see what happens.
So, when we say rate cuts, we're not talking about going back to 3% interest rates, right?
No, I don't see.
This is more like maybe 5.5 or 6. What do you think?
I'm thinking that we could get back down into the lower 5s would be a great spot for us to settle. I've heard some people say, hey, we might see mid 4s again. We're not going to see 3% again anytime in the foreseeable future.
So, for people's reference, like let's say they go buy a $300,000 house, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but what does 1% interest rate make a difference in a 30-year mortgage payment per month, like on a $300,000 house, roughly?
Roughly, you're probably talking on a $300,000 house, and I just did this. You're probably talking about $200 to $300 a month.
Okay.
1%. So the difference between say 7% and 8% is probably $300 a month or so.
Okay. All right. So I guess do you feel like our audience should be prepared to get used to rates being this 6, 7, 8% range from now on? Or I agree. I've not heard anybody else say that 3% a reality ever again.
Mm-mm.
So people, that are on the sidelines just simply because of rates, what would you tell them? I mean, should they wait, or is now a good time you may as well buy because it ain't going down anytime soon, or what?
Yeah, I think you should still buy because, as soon as rates come back down, guess what happens? Home prices go up.
Right.
So you're not going to go back and say, hey, I want that house for $50,000 less it was selling last year, but you can refinance that rate.
Yeah.
But home prices are only going to go up with downward rate pressure because more demand.
Certainly if people are renting, right? Yeah. I mean, certainly if people are renting right now, there's no reason not to buy, right? I mean,
you're paying somebody else's mortgage when you're renting. So
exactly.
You're paying a mortgage either way.
Yeah. I mean, your interest rate if you're renting is 100%. It's all, I mean, you get no equity from that at all. But I mean, home prices are, they dipped a little bit from last June of 2022 where they peaked down. They went down maybe 8 or 9% in the Midlands in January, down to 8 or 9% reduction. But they're back up. In fact, they're more than they were last June now. So I don't think anybody, at least in South Carolina, and real estate is local, thinks that we're headed for any kind of crash on home prices or anything like that. So anyway, if you are thinking about buying, I mean, the days of those interest rates are well past us in all the experts' eyes, including Mark, our preferred lender that we've used. In fact, Mark and I go back to before I was even a real estate agent. He did my loan on a house back in, I think it was like 2007 or something. Yeah. So he's done all my personal loans since then, and we recommend him to all our clients. And Mark, we appreciate you and thank you for coming in today. How can people reach you if they have any other questions or want to shop around and get a rate from your company?
Best way is to call my cell phone, which is 803-920-8914. Got it with me all the time. So if you need answers to questions, that's the best way to reach me. Yeah, very good. All right, man. Appreciate it. And if y'all need any real estate needs or anything else, please call us or DM us on our Facebook page. Have a great week.